All right, welcome back to T&K Sports Talk. For those of you who are new, my name is Thomas.
My name is Kevin.
And we're excited to finally announce the winner of our NBA jersey giveaway. Had a lot of people enter. We appreciate everybody that did enter into the contest and liked and retweeted our post. Also, thank you to the people who commented on YouTube and believe a couple people on Facebook, right, Kevin?
Yes, a few people on Facebook, and to those of you who just subscribed to the channel, thank you very much. It means a lot. It really does go a long way for our long-term goal here. It does not go unnoticed. That is why we chose to do this giveaway, was that we knew that this would be a great way to reach out to all of you guys to bring everyone together, which is what this show is about. We're trying to bring everyone together, bring all the sports together to talk about them all, because not everyone likes just one sport. So here we are in the NBA, still in full swing with the playoffs. So this was another big reason why we did the giveaway, is everyone wants a free jersey. Everyone wants to rep their team for the playoff push. If your team's been eliminated, I'm sorry, but but who still doesn't want that free jersey? I mean, come on now.
Yeah, exactly. And if your team got eliminated, or maybe it'll make it feel a little bit better if you get a jersey in the mail. So, yeah, we do appreciate everybody that subscribed. And for whoever does not win this giveaway, make sure you stay tuned to our channel. We will be doing giveaways in the future. This won't be the only one. We also like to have guests on the show. So make sure you stay tuned because you might be interested in some of them. And like Kevin said, we talk about every sport. So if you're watching right now because you like the NBA, perfect. We'll keep talking about it. If you don't want to watch this because you only watch the NFL, don't worry. We talk about them all. So
yeah, man, let's make someone's day.
All right, let's do it. I got all the names in a hat here. Let me I'll show you guys. Got them all in here, scattered. Got a good chance of winning. It's about
what, 34 names in there,
about
correct?
34 names in there. So let me grab one. I'll look away. And let's
big
see
money,
what
big
name
money,
I
big money.
pulled. We're looking at Papa Mick. He's at Mick Klein on Twitter. And it looks like he wants a Damian Lillard jersey. Congratulations,
right.
Papa Mick.
Congratulations, Papa Mick. All right.
Nice.
But on to your boy, Lillard, Papa Mick. Man, what can't be said about Dame time? Thomas, I know you said you didn't get a chance to watch that game, but as someone that stayed up here on the East Coast to watch Damian Lillard shoot the basketball, never gets old, man. It's a total heartbreaker. I mean, I'm not one to say free Dame. It's one of the reasons why I love Lillard is his loyalty to that fan base and that city. I mean, God, that's so hard to see. 55-point performance, sending him to overtime by knocking a three-pointer down right in the Denver Nuggets face. I mean, the man's just incredible.
He is. I'm like you said about being heartbroken. I am heartbroken I didn't watch that game because I love Lillard just as much as the next guy. And to put something like that off and still not win, I mean, like you said, I hope Lillard eventually gets an opportunity, whether it's with Portland or, who knows if it's with another team. Fingers crossed that it's Philly. Don't think it would happen, but
4 first-round picks. Who says no?
right. But he is an incredible player, and I hope that I think they're only down 3-2 right now, but I hope Portland pulls it out and wins the series.
Yeah, it breaks my heart to keep seeing Damian Lillard on the short end of the stick with these series. I mean, like an image that lives rent free in my head is I forget who it was against. It was against the Houston Rockets, and the Trailblazers had like 0.8 seconds to shoot the ball for the win, and Lillard just breaks away and just makes it look effortless and nothing but freaking net and sends Portland to the next round. I mean, that was when I became a Damian Lillard fan. Is like that clutch gene is just unmatched. I mean, it goes without saying, man. Damian Lillard is amazing. The fact that he's never in the MVP conversation to me is criminal.
Yep, I agree. Now here's a question for you, because you're a big Lillard fan and obviously a big 76ers fan. You said about 4 first-round picks. You trade Embiid for him?
No, absolutely not. If Embiid is involved in like a potential trade package, then you don't send over 4 first-round picks as well. Because I mean, you factor in that Embiid is in the MVP conversation this year. While respectfully, like I know I just said like I hate that Damian Lillard has never been in the MVP conversation, but you look at Embiid, who has been an MVP candidate like all season long, versus Lillard, who hasn't been. That's a very steep hill to climb in terms of talking trade right there just by itself. I mean, if Embiid is in a trade package, you're talking like Embiid, then like Maxey and a first round pick at that point.
Oh yeah, I wasn't saying for Embiid and for first round picks. So it's
Embiid
for Lillard straight up. I'd consider it, but Embiid's the man.
Yeah.
Getting on Embiid, this injury is definitely concerning for us moving forward. Don't think it's honestly that surprising. He has struggled with his health in his career and everything. But man, it's always something with us Philly fans. They always got to do us dirty, We in 2017, when the Eagles were killing it and Wentz was having an MVP season, we were like, nothing can stop us. And then Wentz goes down with an ACL. And luckily, we still won it. But now it seems like this year, number 1 seed, 3-0 on the Wizards. Things are going good. Of course, Embiid gets hurt.
Dude, I will die on this hill forever. Like, us Eagles fans sold our soul for that Super Bowl, and we're still in debt. So I mean, like, it's no wonder that this happens. So we'll see what the future holds. But right now, we still have a debt to pay. So
yeah,
if I could do it again, I would. But right now, we're still paying debt.
Yeah, our MVP caliber player on the Sixers might be down. We need Nick Foles on the Sixers. Let's sign.
I mean, hey, Nick Foles used to play basketball.
He can run point guard for us.
But
maybe he can make some free throws too. Ben Simmons right
there. Poor guy. But switching gears back to basketball here, Thomas. The games that are on tap for tonight, we got Sixers Wizards. It is Game 5. Philadelphia finally with full capacity at the Wells Fargo Center. A place to get be rocking. I know amidst the Embiid news, it's going to be a little like not as intense as when Embiid is pumping up the crowd, but this is something that's been over a year in the making. It's finally here, and it's while Philadelphia has a chance to send a team home and move on to round 2.
Yep. Obviously, losing Embiid in this game definitely hurts. But Sixers have more than enough talent to be able to send the Wizards home tonight. And, of course, no fan of any team would ever, wish a loss for their team ever. But, I mean, losing Game 4 against Washington, I'm not mad that we get to hopefully send Washington home packing with a full crowd at home. Like that's going to be so much sweeter.
Yeah, it would be a lot sweeter to do it in front of the home crowd. I mean, and the other, just up north, we got the Knicks and the Hawks in the Garden. This is a kind of a big deal for the Sixers if you factor in Embiid, because if the Knicks win tonight, then it gives extra rest for Embiid and his knee, but that's neither here nor there. Who do you like in that game? Are you taking the Hawks, or do you think the Knicks kind of carry this along?
So I think it's in New York tonight, right?
Yeah, it's in the Garden. Yep.
So I think Atlanta should win it, being at 3-1. But I expected this series to go to 7 games, and I don't believe that it'll be over in 5. I just don't. Atlanta and New York are both good teams, but I don't know if Atlanta is a good enough team to be able to, win that series in 5 games. So I think, especially with being in the Garden tonight, I think the Knicks take the game tonight. But I believe that Atlanta is probably going to take the series.
Yeah, I agree that the Hawks are going to take the series in the end. I don't know what's up with the Knicks, man. I mean, like, you couldn't play any worse right now if you're the core of that team. I mean, what made this team so good, what got this Knicks team to the playoffs was the incredible play of Julius Randle. And Julius has been abysmal all series. He can't knock anything down. Like, that was the main key to the Knicks advancing in any playoff series this year, is that Randle needed to show up. He's the life of their team. And he's kind of floundered a little bit. I mean, I do think tonight, my prediction is the Knicks do win tonight and carry it into Atlanta, and then the Hawks will finish business there. It just speaks to me that the emotional back against the wall Garden noise. I know Trae Young is right now enemy number 1 in New York right now. But I mean, I feel like if there is a game where it is going to cause some rattled players, it is this one. And the Garden's going to be really intense tonight. And we're getting into full capacity arenas now. It's getting ready to be rocking even more than ever.
Yeah, I'm definitely rooting for the Knicks tonight, because our ideal situation is Sixers win tonight and Knicks win hopefully tonight, and maybe another one. Make sure that series goes to 7 games, and make sure Embiid gets plenty of rest. But we'll see what happens with that.
Yeah, it's a game that could go either way. Like, the Knicks could win because of the Garden atmosphere, and like maybe they finally get a good game out of Randle. But it also could be another game where Trae Young just smells blood in the water and just finishes them off. There's no in between. It's gonna be either one of those two outcomes. Randle is gonna take advantage of the crowd finally being there again, or Trae Young is gonna silence the Garden again. There ain't no in between.
Yeah. All I hope is that with that game being in Madison Square Garden, and not just that stadium, but all the stadiums were getting back to full capacity, that fans were, stop spitting on players and throwing stuff at players. It's just
spitting on players and dumping popcorn, and people jumping onto the court in Washington. Like, people, like, I understand that, like, we've been away from sporting events for a long time and we're at full capacity, but like, I don't speak for everybody. Everyone has their own reasons for everything that they do, but knock it off. You gotta be bigger than this. All right. Like, whether it's dumping popcorn, spitting on a player, jumping on the court during the middle of the play when your team has the ball in the offensive zone. Like I said, I don't speak for everybody, but me personally, people need to grow up a little bit. Like, act like you've been there before, because while this was a long time in the making, like, there's people who are there for their first game ever, and it's got to be ruined because people are being idiots out there.
Yep, agreed 100%. It's like, I get it with all the 2020, everything that happened, and everybody being cooped up in their houses and not being able to go to games. You shouldn't forget how to act in a atmosphere like that. You're paying money to go see these professional athletes go to work. Don't throw something at them. It ruins the whole atmosphere for not you, because now you're probably banned and arrested, but also it's makes your whole fan base look bad. Like, of
Yeah.
course, the Russell Westbrook incident was I believe, first one. And of course, everybody immediately went to, well, Philly fans, they threw snowballs at
Snowballs
Santa
at
Claus. It's like, it's not just us, we definitely have some a-holes in our fan base, but so do all of them. But like you said, they just need to grow up and respect the athletes that they paid to go watch.
Yeah, you literally paid to go watch your team, and now you're banned from the arena. Yeah, congratulations.
Yeah.
But back to basketball again. Last night there was a pretty big shocker. I mean, I picked last week's episode. We talked about the Lakers and the Suns series, and I had predicted the Lakers in 6. But man, like, I know they're missing Anthony Davis, and like that's a big problem for the Lakers. But Suns, man, they're just taking it to LA right now. I mean, LeBron, I understand his frustration. I mean, he walked off the court. Mixed reaction for me on that. Like, I understand his frustration. He was literally the only guy that showed up on the floor last night, and still wasn't good enough. I mean, literally everyone else shot like 20% from the floor. But I'm also on the same side as, like, stay out there for your team, finish the game, because you win together and you lose together. So the series, man, it's really tough to predict now because it's going back into Los Angeles, and I really don't think Anthony Davis is close to coming back. But LeBron can instantly turn on God mode anytime that he wants to and win a game just by himself. If you ask me, the series is going 7 games, just as you predicted. But man, like, I'm pretty stunned that the Suns really did not take their foot off the gas, even though they knew that they were facing LeBron.
Yeah, like I said, game 7, I think probably still go to that. And I'm still sticking with my Suns. I said the Suns were gonna win it and go to the Western Conference Finals. And of course, it's a shame that Anthony Davis went down, but I think, like you said, doesn't seem like anybody's really stepping up to help out LeBron. I don't even want to get started on that whole LeBron thing, walking off the court. Don't like him. Once in any thing to help me sway my mind to like him more. I'll just say that. But I think the Suns still take it. And actually, I think they're up 3-2, right?
Yeah, the Suns are up 3-2 in the series going into Los Angeles. Yep.
Yeah, I'm changing my mind. Not game 7. They're winning it in LA.
Wow, upset in LA. Well, if you want to call it an upset, I mean, it is 2 seed versus 7 seed. I mean, we'll see what happens there. It's just tough for me to, because the series has gone back and forth, like we didn't expect. Like, we definitely thought that someone was gonna flip up and cost them the series, but it's been a roller coaster. I mean, the Suns, they came to play, and missing Anthony Davis really hurts the Lakers. That's why, like, when we started this, I had talked to you about Anthony Davis. To me, is the most important player on the Lakers, because you have LeBron. He's one of the greatest of all time and everything. But when he's just out there by himself, like, LeBron is still a great player, one of the greatest of all time, like I just said. But this isn't the LeBron that took the Cavaliers to the NBA Finals by himself. This isn't that young stud. Like, this is a guy where, like, while great, he needs guys around him to succeed. He can't do it all himself anymore. Because even when he beat the Warriors, he had Kyrie Irving and Kevin Love. Like, he didn't beat them by himself. And and when Davis is out, you're relying on Andre Drummond to set the pace as your big man. It's not ideal.
Yeah, I think it's a tough match for LA in the first place, just with that Suns matchup, like I was saying, I think before it even started or game in. The that I thought the Suns just had too much for him. Just losing Anthony Davis, you said, LeBron's getting older. I'm sure he's not at 100%.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
still nursing that ankle.
Yep, exactly. So I think, yeah, I don't see LeBron carrying the Lakers any further.
Yeah, it's tough, but then you go to the other side of LA, the Clippers and the Mavericks. I didn't get my wish. I was really hoping the Clippers were going to get smacked by Dallas, but now it's a 2-2 series. Kawhi definitely woke up to tie this series up. Now it's really tough to bet against the Clippers. I feel like that was the Mavericks' best chance to get rid of LA. I mean, I think the Clippers now just have too much going for him, because when Kawhi is one of those players where he relies a lot on his defense to set the pace for his team, and when he gets hot on defense, it's really tough to stop a team that has Kawhi on it.
Yep. It's funny, the Clippers are almost a completely opposite team now without Doc Rivers, because with Doc Rivers they'd have a big lead in the playoffs and then blow it. Now they got now they're blowing it to start and then catching back up. But yeah, like you said, I think Dallas being up 2-0, they had such a great chance of, I think if they went up 3-0, I think, they'd still win the series, but, dropping the last two, and my apologies, I forget if it was their last game or the game before that, but you could tell Luka Doncic, I believe he had a neck injury that you could definitely see was bothering him in the game. So now if you have your best player a little banged up, and losing 2 straight to the Clippers, I took Dallas to win the series, but I think Clippers are probably gonna pull it out.
Yeah, I could definitely see the series going 7 games now. That's tied up, because I really don't think that the Mavericks are a team that's going to lose 4 games in a row to the same opponent, with guys like Kristaps Porzingis and Luka Doncic. I just don't see that team losing 4 in a row. I do think that the series will end up going 7 games in the end, and then anything can happen in a game 7. So I mean, we'll see what happens with that. I called the Clippers the biggest disgrace in basketball, like, because of what they did at the end of the season to try to take the easy road. But they're making me eat my words a little bit. I hope they still lose the series in the end. I'm not rooting for the Clippers at all. I just think it's really tough to knock off the Clippers now, because now it's even Steven. Anything can happen now.
Yep, playoffs are all about the hot hand. Whoever gets that hot hand can do crazy things. Look at the
Yeah.
Miami Heat last year; they won it all.
Yeah.
This year, getting swept by Milwaukee.
Yeah, the bubble guppies. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, Heat fans.
Yeah. I love what Giannis had to say though about how we don't play with our food. That was great.
Yeah, that's a team that could definitely challenge the Nets, as we finally have a round 2 matchup set. We got the Milwaukee Bucks and the Brooklyn Nets. This is a matchup that was pretty much already set in stone as soon as the first round was announced. No one really thought that the Heat or the Celtics were going to have anything for either of those 2 teams. This is going to be a really fun matchup to watch, because, I mean, you have so many MVPs on the floor. I mean, Kevin Durant, Giannis, Harden. I mean, there's so much star power here. This series easily going 6 or 7 games. I'd be shocked if it doesn't.
Yeah, I agree. It's going to be a really fun matchup to watch. And before the season and during the season, of course, when they traded for Harden and everything, I kind of picked the Brooklyn Nets to come out of the Eastern Conference. I thought with just that much talent, even though I, diehard 76ers fan, And of course, I want the Sixers to, win it all this year. I thought, with having James Harden, Kyrie Irving, Kevin Durant, even Blake Griffin, having Joe Harris, who seems like he can't miss behind the 3-point line.
Joe Harris is the best fourth option in the NBA. Like, come on.
Absolutely. So I thought, there's no way that they're not going to get there. And after watching that Boston series, I'm just too concerned with their inability to play defense. Like, I know a couple of the games there, they just completely took care of Boston. But like game one, people forget, but I think Boston, it was in the second quarter, was up by like 17 points at once. And Brooklyn was just able to come back. And then, Tatum comes out and drops 50. So by the way, in last week's episode, I said if Tatum really wants to, take a set to the next level, he needs to drop 50 and win a playoff
Drop 50
game.
and beat the Nets, yeah.
He proved me wrong. But I think it's just their inability to play defense. And I think, Milwaukee, they're not, the best defensive team in the league, but they're going to play good enough defense and to slow them down. I just don't know if Brooklyn's defense is going to be able to slow down Milwaukee at all. So
see, it's so hard.
I take Milwaukee in 6.
Milwaukee in 6. See, I'm actually going to go the other way around and say the Nets in 6, because here's the thing. Like the Milwaukee Bucks have vastly improved over where they were last year. I mean, they got beat by the Heat last year because they didn't play good enough defense. But now the Bucks are vastly improved on the defensive side of the ball. It's just so hard to stop those 3 guys on a consistent basis. You got to beat those 3 guys 4 times in 7 games. I mean, that's a tall order. I mean, like, I know it all can't come at once, but it's just so hard for me to bet against the Nets, who have that much firepower. Like, I know that the knock on them is the fact that they don't have a good defense. But I mean, we are in an era of basketball where, we saw the Golden State Warriors go 73-9 and lose to the NBA Finals, and they went and bolstered their offense and signed Kevin Durant. And I mean, like, they actually worsened their record by doing that. But I mean, like, you see what I'm saying here is that the NBA is going so offensively managed that defense is having a really hard time to keep up. And that's why we keep seeing these scores in the playoffs this year of like 120 to like 119s. And like the game last night with Denver and Portland, granted, it went to 2 overtimes, but I mean, like, both teams were putting up like 140 and like 130. I mean, this is just the type of game that we're in now, which is why it's really hard to beat Brooklyn. I mean, like, we're diehard Sixers fans, but it's so hard to bet against Brooklyn. It's a lot like betting on Logan Paul against Floyd Mayweather right now. Like that's what this feels like in the playoffs right now, where it's like you're hoping for a good matchup, but in the end, like, the other guy is just going to end up taking over. That's just how I feel like the Nets are right now. I mean, the Nets load managed all year. I mean, I really don't think all those injuries were as bad as they were making them out to be. I think a lot of it was load management and just trying to keep it under wraps, because they didn't need to play all 3 together, because they didn't need to. The Nets play in the East. They had their playoff matchup set like weeks and weeks in advance. They didn't have to worry about anything. So I mean, once they had their big 3 and were established, they didn't have to do anything. I mean, the Nets, I'm taking the Nets in 6 in this one over the Bucks. Giannis will have something for him. He will take a couple of games from Brooklyn, but I just don't see enough offensive firepower from the Bucks outside of Giannis. I know they have guys like Drew Holiday, DiVincenzo, and Chris Middleton, but that is not enough to me. I feel like Brooklyn's just going to outscore them. It won't be by a lot, but I feel like Brooklyn just has too much for the Bucks to keep up with.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be a very tough and close matchup. And I think DiVincenzo is out for the year, I think, for the Bucks, which definitely hurts them too. She's a pretty good shooter, and you're definitely gonna if Brooklyn comes out and just keeps hitting their shots. I think, like you said, there's no way anybody's gonna beat them. But you saw a couple times in the Boston series where it just got cold. Now the fortunate part for them is if you have Kyrie who's cold, chances are Harden or Durant, not all three of them are going to be cold on one night, which makes them
No,
very tough.
absolutely not. Yeah.
But watching Drew Holiday on the Bucks too, as a Sixers fan, kind of gives me a blast from the past. Remembering him and Iguodala when they were on the floor together in that Milwaukee-Miami series. I was like, man, I miss that team. Didn't do much.
I miss it too. Yeah. I remember being in the stands at a Sixers game, and the Sixers were actually down by 7 points with about a minute and change to go. And Drew Holiday scored 10 points in that amount of time to win the game in regulation. I forget who it was against. I think it was against the Pacers. But like they were down by 7 points with a minute to go, and Drew Holiday knocked down 10 points. He knocked down 2 threes, and then they hacked him, and he knocked down multiple free throws. I mean, Drew Holiday is he's a special kind of player, but it's tough for me to take the Bucks in this series.
Yeah, it'll be tough. So I think though, so in the Eastern, whoever comes out of that will, as long as the Embiid injury isn't too concerning, crossing our fingers it won't be. I think whoever comes out of Milwaukee or Brooklyn is probably going to face up Philly. I think it all depends with Embiid. I think if Embiid, because we're curious about it right now at the end of round 1, finishing off round 2, if we're fortunate enough to beat Atlanta or New York, who knows the shape he's going to be going into round 3. I think if he is okay and he's not hurting too much, I think Philadelphia is going to go to the NBA Finals this year. But I think if there's even that little bit where if he has a minute restriction or anything, I think Brooklyn or Milwaukee will just be too tough for Philadelphia this year.
Yeah, for Philadelphia to reach the NBA Finals, they need Embiid to be his dominant self. And right now with that knee, right now he's not. So, I mean, that's the main thing to keep track of with Philly right now. Because if Embiid, doesn't even, play round 2, even that's going to be tough for Philly. And you don't want to use all your energy in a round 2 matchup when you got to face the Nets or the Bucks in the conference final. So, I mean, that's where the Sixers stand right now. If the Sixers are going to do anything, it all relies on Embiid.
Yep, agreed. Now, do you think if Embiid does miss some more time than we originally think, let's just say Atlanta, since they're up 3-1 and we have to play them, do you think Philly beats Atlanta if we have to beat them 4 games without Embiid?
I do think we beat Atlanta simply just because Philadelphia, I know that missing Embiid is hard, but Philadelphia is just a different kind of animal when they're in Philadelphia, man. Because Philadelphia has a losing record without Embiid, but it's 10-11. It's not like he missed all that time and we only won 3 games. The team is capable of winning these games. I know Atlanta's a really tough matchup. Trae Young, DeAndre Hunter, Bogdanovich. It's another 3-point shooting team. But Philadelphia can rely still on their defense to propel them, because when you have a 3-point scoring team, if they have an off night, they're gonna get creamed.
Yeah, I think if we had to, I don't think we will, but I think if we had to go the whole series without Embiid, I think we would still win it. But I think what would need to happen for us to win it would be both Ben Simmons and Tobias Harris to really step it up and take it to the next level. Like you saw in those couple games for Philly this round, Ben Simmons, when he was as aggressive, we looked like Washington had no answer for us when he was aggressive. as long as he can be aggressive, like he's been, and Tobias Harris can make his shots, I think we'd still beat whoever we play in round 2. But I think without Embiid, we'd lose in the conference finals. But I don't think we'll miss him for that much time. I think we'll probably be okay.
I don't think so either. I don't think so either. But going to the other side of the conference here, we got Utah and Memphis. Utah has a 3-1 series lead over Memphis. They're kind of doing exactly what we predicted from the last episode. Like, Memphis stole game 1 because Donovan Mitchell was scratched. But here's Utah relying on their defense and Donovan Mitchell scoring to take the next 3 games. To me, this series is done. Like, it's exactly how we thought it would go. Like, Memphis has a lot of potential. Ja Morant is there. He's going to be their leader for a long time. But the Grizzlies are not there yet. Utah is. Utah is ready to contend.
Yeah, I agree. I think it would have been a sweep if Donovan Mitchell played in game 1. Even if Donovan Mitchell, was on a minute restriction in game 1, I think they'd still probably have swept them. But I think it is over. I think Utah's going to beat them. But I will take back what I said in the last episode a little bit. Said about how I was a little upset that Memphis got in instead of Golden State because of how much I love watching Steph Curry play. But man, Ja Morant has been a lot of fun to watch too. And that Memphis team, props to them. They have a lot of young potential, and they can get some extra help over there for Ja Morant. They might be a team to contend in the West in the next couple of years.
But yeah, so I want to try out something new here, Thomas. Going forward in these next episodes, how about we do our hot take of the day? Because we mentioned Ja Morant, we talk about Ja Morant. Here's my hot take of the day. I am taking Ja Morant over Zion Williamson 100 times out of 100 between the two. I know Zion was the top prospect coming out of Duke, and he was a can't miss pick. I mean, he was the consensus #1 overall. I mean, whoever won the lottery was getting Zion. But I mean, you look at Ja Morant. I mean, would Zion really take Memphis to this level right now? I mean, he can't even get New Orleans to this level right now. I mean, I just think that Ja Morant has the potential of that of a Kyrie Irving, like to be that good to where he can carry any team to a winning season. I mean, right now I'm taking Morant over Williamson. Not to say I'm disappointed in Zion or anything, but if I had to choose between the two now, I'm taking Ja. I'm taking Ja all day.
That's tough. That's tough right there. I mean, I do understand what you're saying there, because I mean, they both got drafted to not necessarily great teams or anything. Both had, similar situations talent-wise. Ja Morant was able to get his team into the playoffs, and Zion
and won a
didn't,
playoff game. I mean,
yeah. So I mean, I understand where you come from, but I'd still say Zion a million times over a million times. I'm curious though. I want to revisit that in 5 years. Let's
definitely.
see.
In 5 years, it could be a totally different conversation. I just mean right now, I'm taking Ja.
Yeah. Yeah. They're both incredible players there. To both get those players out of the draft, it's definitely good for the NBA. They're fun to watch. They help make their teams, be enjoyable to watch. And we definitely have some, older players in the league that are going to start going out here soon. So we need as many young studs like we can.
Mm-hmm. I just fear that Zion Williamson, this is not what I'm saying he's going to be, but I just fear that Zion, if he doesn't continue to improve his game, he'll end up like Blake Griffin. To where he The Blake Griffin coming out of Oklahoma was a phenomenal prospect. He was also the consensus #1 pick. But what made Blake Griffin noticeable coming out of his draft was his freakish athleticism. And same went for Zion. Zion had that built like a freaking army vehicle, but could dunk the ball and jump out of the gym. And you had Ja Morant behind him and RJ Barrett following him. They were the shooters of their schools. Ja Morant came out of Murray State, didn't get as much attention. He only got the attention because he was definitely an elite prospect and warranted a lot of looks, and that's how he went second overall. But then RJ Barrett coming out of Duke, and he's on the Knicks now. He's been another disappointment in the series. He's really struggling. But, I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm still taking Zion over a lot of people in the draft. I just mean when I'm talking 1, 2, if I'm having this conversation right now, I'm taking Ja over Zion.
Yeah, I can see it. Like you said with the comparison, I don't buy it, and I hardly ever do whenever, you got that top prospect coming out of the NBA draft like every year, and they're like, oh no, this guy is the next LeBron James, or this guy is the next LeBron James. I don't think Zion's going to be anything like the next LeBron James or
No,
anywhere close
Zion
to
will
it.
be great, but yeah.
But heading home to LeBron James, I could see Zion being like a Chris Bosh almost.
Okay,
Like
I can see that.
kind of, a couple Pro Bowls, definitely a good player. So like I can agree with the Blake Griffin comparison. I think though he has like a low floor and a high ceiling though, because
No, you said it right.
high floor, high ceiling.
Mhm.
Because I think more than likely, as long as nothing goes too bad for him, that he's gonna be like a Chris Bosh or Blake Griffin. But I think if things do go his way, I think he could be like a Joel Embiid kind of like in
Mhm.
obviously
Like not
not
as
in these
tall,
next
but
couple
that
years,
physical.
but like MVP considerations eventually.
But overall, I feel like he will be in MVP conversations for years to come. Like I simply just because of the name, he's the former first overall pick. I mean, if he's gonna have like a great year down the road or something like that, of course his name's gonna come up. Well, what about Zion? Like we got to include him, right? I mean, just like for years, you got to include Steph Curry in the MVP conversation. I mean, this year totally warranted for what he did with Golden State. But I just mean in years past, the players' names definitely factor into who's contending for MVP.
Yeah. And speaking of the draft, though, there was one player that came out of the draft that I would take a million times over Ja Morant and Zion Williamson combined.
Is this your hot take?
This is my hot take. It's partially serious, mostly not. Tyrese Maxey. Kid's going to be a 10-time MVP. I'm calling it 10-time MVP.
You're
Tyrese
going
Maxey
maxi
is
minutes
the
on
next
me.
LeBron
You're going
James.
maxi minutes on me. Really?
Tyrese Maxey is the next LeBron James. Yep, I'm calling it.
Yep. He's about a foot shorter. He's about a whole foot shorter than LeBron James. But yep, he's the next LeBron.
Yeah. No, obviously I wouldn't take him over Zion or Ja. But man, we got to go in the draft with him, though. I think, seeing how young he is and how well he's playing. I mean, he did definitely struggle in that first half in game 4. But I mean, a couple points and a steal and a block there in that fourth quarter definitely helped us try and come back to get that win on the other night. I think as long as we go slow and steady with his development, I think kid's going to be a star and probably a future at one of our guard positions.
Yeah, future all-star if his development is done right. I mean, we haven't seen the starting lineups yet for tonight's Sixers-Wizards game, but me personally, I would start Maxey tonight because he did show out in game 4 to warrant a look when the team is shorthanded. So,
and he definitely gives the bench really more what he needs to. He can come in and instantly give you points. And the thing I like about him too is it just seems like he brings so much energy to the court whenever he gets on it that he
Mhm.
just, you never really see him just dribbling it slowly. He's like running full speed all the time.
Yeah, if he can get a like consistent 3-point shot to where like he can actually like pull up and shoot from three, he'll definitely be on the road to an all-star because I mean, he he has a lot of inside scoring ability like that of a Bradley Beal. Like because Beal, you see him just streaking into the paint and he's like taking impossible shots and they're going in. And Maxey, I mean, his first ever playoff bucket came in when he was like about halfway onto the floor and he got an and one in his first ever playoff minute. I mean, that's the type of player that Maxey is. I just mean if he can get a 3-point shot down, then he'll definitely be a great player for the Sixers.
Yeah, I agree.
Do you have any closing remarks for the show for tonight?
I don't think so. I think I want to say congrats again to Papa Mick. We will be getting in contact with you. Me or Kevin will be sending you a DM and we'll get your information and make sure we get that Dame Time jersey sent over to you.
Yes, sir. Congratulations again, Papa Mick. For those that are still watching, want to reiterate that this is not our only giveaway. There will be more to come over time. This was just our very first one for the playoff push. There could be giveaways for NFL, more NBA, or hockey. If there are hockey fans out there that are watching the show from afar, we're going to be doing a lot more of these. So I mean, just stay tuned. Just because you didn't win tonight doesn't mean that you won't win at all. So I mean, just keep giving love to the show, and you'll always be in the hat.
Yep. And I want to say thank you again to everybody that did participate and to everybody that did subscribe. Definitely helps our channel grow. We're going to make sure that we continue to provide good content for you and try and get better every week. And we'll have more giveaways to come, and there will definitely be some more content that you definitely want to check out in these next couple of weeks. So make sure you stay tuned.
Yes, absolutely. To the fans out there that have their teams playing tonight, Knick fans, good luck. And 76ers fans, let's all trust the process.
Trust the process and go Knicks for tonight.